Hey guys, Codeberry's here today, so hope you're all doing well. We'll just do a recap on, we'll do a technical analysis on Bitcoin. We'll start with Bitcoin, so we'll just talk about the monthly time frame. So last time we spoke, pretty much the same picture. So we spoke about a week ago, so we spoke about the new monthly candle. Same idea here. We have room here to the 0 line on the default MACD. We did have an inflection here. There's still a lot of room before it even starts to cross over. And as we said, after it crosses over, at such a high point, it could be going down for a while, at least a year or more, year and a half, before it wants to maybe check. So the faster MACD already crossed over. We have a little bit of momentum trying to maybe come up a little bit for a retrace. See, in 2018 when it came up very high like we did, it came down and then came up about halfway. It's not for sure though, it could just continue down, but at least it could come up a little bit, perhaps. But then again, it could just continue down depending. It's kind of like, I have a lot of selling pressure right now, but I kind of want to come back up a little bit for a breather. So for the weekly, we could see a little bit of bullish momentum, but it is, even though we are having bearish momentum on the default MACD, on the faster MACD, there's a little bit of bullish momentum, so we could come a little bit closer, perhaps maybe come up a little bit higher. But the thing is, have a look. It's a red day starting today, and have a look, there's some bearish momentum starting, so we could see that momentum on the weekly start to fade out, especially after Sunday when the new candle opens, maybe, wants to continue down. So we do have, as I said here again, the faster indicators. It was looking for a cross down. Perhaps it wants to continue down. This is the daily, so again I think we said last time, where do we say that? Maybe around here, right? Somewhere around here. So I guess we did have a decline again. We did come up a little bit, but we did see a decline to about 30. Yeah, that was a couple of days ago. Actually, that was yesterday or 2 days ago. So we had a low of 31, so it's kind of pushing back down. Again, we said we have some momentum to the downside, but have a look at the 4 hour. So there's some bearish momentum starting here. We have the leaving the overbought zone to neutral. And then we could see some more momentum to the downside. Once the default MACD wants to start turning back down, see a retrace back to that yellow line perhaps, and a cross. So I wouldn't be, especially if this is starting to be a red 4. We got a lot of room to the middle band, the middle channel. So we do have the 2 hour, same idea. We have a little bit of room to that that channel, right? These are, yeah, they're channels. So yeah, if you want to check it out, they're Keltner channels, so you can check them out if you want. You can also use Bollinger Bands, but I'm not a very big fan of them because I don't know. There's too many signals that aren't for sure. So I just stick to these. Honestly, I haven't really tested Bollinger Bands that much, but some people really like them. Just depends. So try both of them out, see which one you like, test them. You can try to back test them too by just using the replay. It's not as good, but it could work. You can try to work with it. It might help a little bit. The back testing on this TradingView back testing. You can also back test it in MT4, and there's like some other software. I think like I forgot there was some other software. I forgot. If I remember, I'll let you know. Anyways, this 2-hour default RSI is coming up high. It's wanting to turn back down. We got the momentum leaving the overbought, heading to neutral. Same idea, 2-hour wants to kind of turn down perhaps. 1 hour is a little faster. We got the wanting maybe a cross down for, day trading time frames. See how long that could last. That cross lasted over a day, so it could be heading back down here for at least for the short time being. 30 and 15 will just kind of show it. Oh yeah, we do have bearish divergence here, so price went up. MACD moved down, faster MACD, and default MACD moved down overall. Histogram moved down overall. Do we have something on the RSI? Let's see. Oh, we do have, do we? I think we do actually. Yeah, so we do. We have the, so have a look at this point where the price continued to move higher. So have a look, you take that exact point, you look at it, then you look for the next point that moved lower while this still moved higher. So if you zoom in here, you can see that it moved lower as price moved higher, so that's pretty clear. It must be on the 1 hour too. Yeah, you can see it. Let me remove it now, the lines, so you can see a more closer point there on a bigger time frame. Overall move down. You can check the numbers for yourself on the 1 hour. BTC USD, and the price moved up. So obviously, like 1 hour divergence would be not as effective and directional as like 1 month divergence or 1 week divergence. So that being said, it'll just last maybe for, if a 1 hour divergence could last maybe a day, something like that, maybe less than a day, or maybe give or take a little bit more. You'd have to move up the time frames to see if you still have them. So we have them on here on the shorter period indicators. So you can see that move down, the red and blue line both, as price moved up. So you can still see it. So you take that point right here. So here's a mouse, right? And you just move up. Let me get the line. So yeah, so here's a point where we looked where the indicators moved down and the price still moved up. So that's 2 hours. It's check. We got the decrease in the signal line and the histogram here on the faster MACD, and looks like we got just the histogram decreasing on this one, and that's still fine as long as you have at least a good case for a few of them. Pretty much everything here except for the signal lines moving up, but as you can see, overall the histogram moved down and we got a lot of room to that 0 line, so that's pretty good as far as a day trade goes. Probably on that second peak at that divergence, as soon as it crossed down, that's where you could have gotten a little trade, but this could be going down for a while considering it's on the 2 hour. So we're on the 4 hour now. Do we have anything here? Well, we do, because have a look. I'll remove all those. We got a little bit here, so nothing here, but on the faster MACD, overall we have the histogram move down. That's overall. And then there's the peak point too, also move down overall. So yeah, this actually, that line should have been, the first one should have been down there. So if I could somehow get rid of the second line, I can't, that's okay, but you get the idea. While price moved up. So there is a little bit of 4 hour divergence here. We have some bearish momentum starting on the default MACD, denoted by the, so when this bar turned pink, it's technically red. I was going to change it to purple actually, but I didn't, I forgot. So if you zoom in as close as you look on the numbers, one of those numbers in the top left screen right here, top left corner, it's gonna be it's gonna be less than that. And I'm thinking it's at 513.08. When you go to the next bar down and move to 510, I think it just moved up a little bit, 510.92. It was just at, I think if you scroll back in the video, you would have saw that it was at 5.8. So when you look at the histogram, it's actually moving down technically, right? So there's a lot of room here still. So we got there's a slight slope to negative infinity right there. And you can see it by those numbers in the top left corner. See, now it's at 59.17. So it's kind of hovering. It's still below. So I think when we started the video it was green, maybe. But we have the faster MACD, you can see that the momentum's moving down. We got the cross down below. So there could be something starting here. Some bearish momentum. Again, we are far away from that zero line, and it hasn't crossed over in a while. Crossed down. So last time it crossed down, it was June 7th, and we've now, even though we were here, the mid channel, like I'll just say average price basically. I created my own VWAP, right? That's basically what it is. But see how the candles here were below that middle band, the yellow one, but now it's high up. So it's kind of like, well, even though price moved up a little bit, the average price, the yellow band moved down overall. It's kind of drifted far away, so that could be signaling, we still want to move down. So I think that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Yeah, again, you'll be able to zoom in on all the bearish divergences. You'll zoom in, you'll see them. Basically, when you zoom in to smaller time frames, you think of it like a magnifying glass. You're going closer and closer and closer to the point. Kind of like calculus, like you're trying to take the derivative of it. Similar to that. You're looking as close as you can to the exact inflection. And again, as you go closer and closer and closer, you'll still see the same things. You'll just see it a little bit closer. So that should usually almost always happen. Okay, so anyways, we'll just final thoughts, I guess. Long term, watch the previous videos because I won't be able to get in depth. Again, basically I'm just saying the same thing every time, right? So for the bigger time frames, so this is just starting to cross over. High runs definitely could, when they get too overbought, they could definitely come down, be going down for a while, especially on the bigger time frames. So if this is just the first bar red, we could see another year or something at least. So that's faster. Look, this one hasn't even crossed over. So that's about a year and a half before it even crosses up. So there could be a long time going down. That's what I'm saying. Be careful here. And again, support is major support is down here. So there's a lot of ways down to major support. So this could slowly be creeping down, for a while. Slowly, trying to come up a little bit, get the shorter time frames to reset, then continue down. Basically, that's what it's done here. Anyways, same idea, right? Because look, we came down here initially, then we came up, and we closed here. We came down, 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 then we came up, closed here. Here we came down, then we came up, now we're here. So maybe we'll come a little bit higher or not, but this could be going for a long time. So you definitely don't want to be buying here. Definitely wait it out. And the best thing to do is just to use your biggest time frames. Use the biggest time frames that you have. So if you want, I can't check it on here because I don't have premium anymore, but you can even look at 3-month candles, 6-month candles or something if you want. That might help you. It probably will. So yeah, that's just Bitcoin. So we'll go to Ethereum now. Quickly try to do Ethereum and Dogecoin. So same idea. This Actually, just one thing to note, that the RSI did cross the default RSI, denoted by the yellow line. It did cross from overbought to neutral, heading into neutral. It's not neutral yet, obviously. Neutral is at 50. So there's quite a ways away. And just have a look at Ethereum, about where it is as far as the default RSI. So you can see it hasn't even crossed down yet. So there's still a lot of room for it to cross down. This month, actually, the faster indicators are crossing from overbought to neutral. So it just crossed down this month, so we could see some selling off pressure here. Maybe a little bit closer to 111, so a little bit closer to 1100, something like that. And the faster MACD on Bitcoin did already cross down, so we do still have, this is kind of lagging behind Bitcoin, so there's a lot of room to that zero line, as we said, on the faster MACD, which isn't a good sign. And then there's a lot of room to the default, which probably should be even more room than the faster one. Yeah, it is. So there's definitely momentum here, a lot of momentum to the downside that's wanting to start. And default MACD support would be here, around there where that signal line is. So there's a lot of room for that to start. And again, before we didn't even really have any data. It was a new pair. Now it came up high, then it came down. So now we have data. Came up high, same thing. So have a look. What happened? It came back to the average price and lower, below that blue band. And at that time, look, that blue band did move down, and the yellow band did move down. Eventually, it moved down. See? At this point, it continued to move down. So wherever it is right now, this could be moving down here. That's what I was saying, right? That's what I was saying before, because as the price closed lower, the calculations, the algorithms are going to recalculate itself, and then it's going to continue down as it moves down. Next red month, next red month, next red month, and this line is just going to look like this. These lines are going to start to go like that. They're going to have an inflection and start to diverge from the price. So that's what I'm saying. This could be going down for a while. 1 month, it's easier to see. It's easier to look at it now. It's not as safe because a lot of people don't use these time frames. They just go off like the 1 day, maybe at the most. Some of them just looking at the 1 hour, like they're trying to make a trade off the 1 hour. And the thing is, when the higher time frames are so overbought, then it's really easy to see. Especially these are some of the easiest trades I've ever seen. That's what I've said, because it's on such a high time frame. And when things are on such a high time frame, they're much easier to calculate, because it's not like we're on the 1 hour and we're like, hey, what's going to happen now? Like, we don't know, right? So you move up as high as you can to try to see as far as you can. So you just kind of stick to your algorithms and just try to find support levels and try to definitely use the higher time frames. So the first support isn't until down there, and the next one, I guess the main one is down here. That's like the last support it has. It's at like 40 something, like 60, 50 or something like that. 45 or something. So like that's what we said, these lines would move down eventually. So that's the 1 month. Weekly, so we did have some so the faster MACD, we thought maybe there'd be some momentum to the upside, but it looks like, actually, was that last week? Yeah, so last week we did get a little bit of momentum to the upside. Crossed back over that EMA 9, and now we've headed back down. I guess earlier on it was a little bit lower. So we do have so this week we have the default MACD is crossing down, so that must have just been on Sunday our time, or sorry, my time. If you're on the West Coast or East Coast, then it would have been on Sunday. But if you're in like Asia or like Europe or something, overseas, then it would have been on Monday for you, I guess. So that line, that bar here, was a red bar, and it inflected over that zero line, as you can see, and it crossed down. So it crossed down, so there's momentum to negative infinity. There's the inflection there, and now we could be running for a long time. Because look, last time it crossed up was, since the last time it crossed up was October 2020, so it's getting there, right? It's been a while. So the 2018 crossed down, lasted for, let's have a look. So the big bear, the big bull run, then they had the big bear run. So 22nd January 2018, basically till 10th December 2018. So that ran down for a whole year. So as you can see, when it was this, pretend we're here and we can't see anything. The original support was here. The first support, because I'm looking for the leftmost support, which is, well, not here, not here, not here, not here, not here. Some peaks around here forming inflection, right? So I kind of looked there, because you can't say this is support because it's going up. It's going up. So we had some parabolas here we could look at. It's kind of like RSI support. So now we're here. Where's the first one? Well, that could maybe be one, right? Let's remove the other lines. So we kind of got something here, right? That could be one. But I was thinking the major one would be down here, because that's the sharpest one. And it was still an uptrend here. It didn't really, it kind of came close to the zero line, just continued up. Fake out, right? So there's basically here's support 1, here's support 2, let's just say that. Pretty clear. So we still haven't hit support 1. And if we did, price would probably be down there. Yeah, so on these, we haven't printed anything on the data on the MACD. We haven't actually had any close that came down here. So I still think there's a lot of room for this to come down. For faster MACD, we did get a break of the first support. Second one too. This is faster, right? So it changes quicker. We do have the weekly RSI still about, more than neutral. So we're at about 60 earlier, now we're at, 57.16 at this exact moment. So for that to get oversold, there would be another halfway down, so about roughly. So let's just say 4,400 down to 17. So 17, what is that? You'd have to kind of subtract it, so 4,400 minus or divided by 2 gave you something like that, and then kind of divided by 2 again. So 17 divided by 2, roughly, give or take more, we could be getting back down here. Pretty much that's what it's saying. I think that was wrong. So 4,400 divided by, or 4,400 minus the difference between 4,400 and 1,700, whatever that is, right? Then take that difference, the difference. So if you take 4,400 minus, just roughly the difference between that and 1,700, then you take that number and minus it from 1,700, whatever. That should give you the roughly where we're going, pretty much. So there's still a long way down. So currently on the daily, sorry, bit of lag there. So We do have some momentum starting to the downside. We got an inflection here. So we got a cross down of the faster indicator crossing down the RSI, the yellow line. So we got a little bit of bearish momentum starting here. We'll see if it wants to cross down. A little bit here, you know, we could see something. Nothing looking too for sure on the 1 day, other than, you know, RSI is maybe coming back up to neutral. As we said last week, I think that we were going to say that RSI would probably come back up to neutral, which it did exactly, almost, and so now it's continued back down since Sunday, or before Sunday. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. So we'll just move to the 4 hour, see if we have any other signals. We do have some bearish momentum starting. So we have the inflection to negative infinity, continued momentum to the downside towards negative infinity. We got a room between this signal line and the 0 line. So room to cross down, and at least room to there before it even crosses down to the 0 line, before it even tests. Same thing here, but we do have a little bit of room on the 4 hour. Well, it's about neutral, a little bit higher than, actually no, yeah, it's about neutral. So it's kind of saying, well, we're at neutral now, maybe we have some bearish momentum starting. Nothing really on the shorter time frames are kind of for sure, again, so use your biggest time frames first. On the default MACD, some bearish momentum starting. Faster MACD crossing down, so continued bearish momentum perhaps. But we do have the just started a green 2 hours, so maybe we'll see a little bit of momentum. Kind of just like, you know, kind of just maybe sideways action. Again, shorter time frames are, I would just start looking at the bigger time frames first, because shorter time frames are pretty vulnerable to change, so they kind of change often. So maybe a little bit of bullish momentum here on the shorter time frames. Perhaps a fake out. So we do have the crossover, the center line here. 15, anything. Nothing too for sure, other than we came up high, back around neutral again. Yeah, so I think the best thing we had was the bearish momentum starting on the 4 hour and the biggest time frame. So I think charts are just resetting, to be honest. It's trying to reset so it can continue down. That's what I'm seeing. It even tried to come up higher, but it was like, okay, we want to start going back down. So it's pretty much sticking to that average price, the yellow line. So again, we do have a little bit of bearish momentum on the 4 hour. Anything on the 1 day screaming any signals here? A little bit of bearish momentum, not for sure. Again, it's pretty close to the line already, to the center line. I mean, there's not too much distance between there for any for sure signals. Same thing here, we do have a little bit of bearish momentum starting, but nothing too for sure. So it honestly looks like, hey, I want to trade sideways for a while, which is what it's been doing. Because look, 26th of May, right? That was a while ago already. Not a while ago, but at least 12 days ago, right? And since then, we've pretty much just traded in this channel here. So it's like, hey, let's just continue moving sideways. So that could be happening. So you have to watch that level here if you get a breakout. But again, I don't really trade breakouts, so I just wait for now. Wait for stuff to get here and wait for it to get there. So you know, we had a little bit of momentum to the upside, nothing too strong. And then we've had, now it's like, okay, I want to come back down, so we'll see. Again, the weekly is high. It's high above that middle line now. We do have the crossing down here, so this is for sure. This is pretty for sure here. I mean, think about it. For that to cross back up, you need a lot of momentum, because look at the last time it crossed down, right? Think about it. That was over a year ago. I mean, sorry, that was almost a year ago. So if you want to cross down, if you want to cross down at this high of a point, at all-time highs, right? And well, hey, I want to cross back up, you're going to need a lot of momentum. A lot of momentum. You're going to need almost unheard of amounts of capital to be flowing back in for that to cross back up. So again, and same thing goes for this here. Once that crosses down, you need massive, look, cross bearish momentum here. You need massive momentum to the upside. Almost unheard of capital flowing into Ethereum, so before it would want to inflect back green to have a positive infinity inflection. Basically, you need massive volume, unheard of volume, for that to close green and then maybe think about going back up. So that's what I'm thinking. You know, once algorithms cross down, they're like, hey, we want to connect back down here. I want to cross back down eventually, pretty much. So I'm thinking the verdict here is just pretty much sideways. Nothing too for sure. You know, we're at the center line there, and here we're high. So maybe you want to continue back down, and here we're high too. Continue back down, right? We'll just quickly look at that perspective. So yeah, so closer here, but not all the way down to the center line. Maybe a little bit of room back up here. Perhaps that could continue down though, while it wants to continue up. So if we had a side, almost like a green but sideways movement, and then we had this line would eventually continue down, right? As it continues, because it's lower overall, and maybe price would meet it back here, and then you know we got over again and wants to cross back down. That could be pretty possible. Again, we got resistance up at 44. That's kind of far away for the amount of market cap that Bitcoin has lost since the fall. So there's a lot of it's almost hard to recover all that at this point. So we'll just talk about Dogecoin quickly. So we do have a kind of a death wick looking green here. It's almost red, but it's just a little bit green. Again, we have a lot of room down here, just starting to cross over to negative infinity. We got the inflection, bearish inflection to negative infinity. We got haven't even crossed out of overbought yet. Weekly here perhaps hasn't even crossed down on the default. We got histogram moving down overall. Bearish momentum. We have the divergence there. Room above the yellow line here, the middle, about the average price for the weekly. We got support down here. This is support 1 here, cross down. So support 2 is down there now, since we've broken this level. So as far as weekly goes, we've broken this support here. And now the next one is down here, about at 7 cents. So we have room there. Center line's down here, average price area, so hasn't crossed down yet. Faster MACD has crossed down. Tried for some bullish momentum here, right? And then it broke down from that level. It broke the support there. So, not a good time to buy. Not very, not algorithmic, I guess. Wouldn't be an algorithmic buy at that point. I think probably daily's gonna be looking like sideways to me. So we had some bearish momentum. Now we got a little bit of bull, 1 day bull, and now we have a red. MACD default, it's heading back down now, so it's crossed down. When's the last time we crossed down? So we crossed up, we crossed down, kind of like sticking to the center. So we maybe might see some big sells come in pretty soon. But we are starting to get, I guess, so we haven't got oversold yet, but we could be getting down there, and once we do, charts might reset again. So look for the continued momentum. We got 4-hour momentum starting bearish. Inflection here to negative infinity. Room to the 0 line. Same idea for, actually this has default MACD hasn't crossed over yet. We got a little bit of momentum to the downside. So you got a break on the faster indicators. Overbought to heading to neutral. RSI about neutral. So if 4 hours is not looking too for sure, then the time frames in between probably aren't looking very for sure either. Have some crossing down here. Bearish momentum, a little bit of divergence there. Bearish divergence. So histogram moved down, signal line moved up. Price moved up a little bit as histogram moved down, at least on the faster one. And yeah, pretty much same thing. So moving down the time frames won't really give us anything here, unless we had a huge spike up like this. Then we'd have a easy short. See, look. What's that? Some kind of ray. So here, have a look. We came up high. I tried to push up here. Came up to about 36 cents. When was that? Today, 10 a.m. We came quite high. You could see on the volatility band it came up to the farthest one almost. RSI came up high at that point. Bearish momentum started to the downside. Then we just had a sell off for the rest of the day. So from a day trading perspective, that's all you're going to really see on the shorter time frames. You might be able to catch some high volatility if you're day trading, but you know it's kind of risky to be doing that, so just be careful. So I think it's pretty much all in the bigger time frames right now, so we have it all mapped out here. So just wait for these to cross over. Wait for these to at least come back down, touching to the 0 line. The goal would be to wait for it to cross down, right? Then look for some momentum up once it's already crossed down. So So look for a cross down. Then wait for some momentum up, right? But be careful though, because check your defaults. Or I guess that is default. Well, at least you would have had like at least a few months run, right? But then again, we had a cross down, so could be going for a while, right? So you know, keep an eye on it. If you would have bought here, you know, we would have had a few green months. But think about it, look. The RSI had come up high, the default RSI. and I want it to, get back down at least for a while to test here. So gotta be careful. Again, it's cryptocurrency, right? It's volatile. It wants to come up, and then once it gets up, it wants to get sold off for profits. So we've come up high, and now we have at least room to that center line. So think about it here. We have room. We came up high, came down to center line, then came up a little bit, came back down. At least we gotta come below here for sure to support. Where's support? First support is here. So below a cent. So we definitely got a long way to go. So just keep your eye on it, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.